All right, so this is activity 3.2, an interesting day in South Dakota. So today, an interesting day in temperature changes occurred in Rapid City, South Dakota on January 22nd, 1943. The table shows the temperature changes that happened throughout the day. So 10:30 a.m., it was negative 6.7 degrees Celsius. So it's way colder. Remember Celsius and Fahrenheit? Um, so yeah, okay. 10:35, 5 minutes later, it was 13.3 degrees Celsius. 12, it's a little bit later on. It was 15.6 degrees Celsius. 12:05, it was negative 10.6 degrees Celsius. 12:35, negative 9.4 degrees Celsius. 12:40, 10 degrees Celsius. 2:20, big jump in time there, was 14.4 degrees Celsius. 2:25 p.m., it was negative 8.3 degrees Celsius. Okay, and so it's yo-yoing around. Okay, I'm going to create a graph of the temperature changes. Which quadrant do you need for your graph? Explain your reasoning. Okay, so the times were all positive. So the x-axis is positive. Okay. The y-axis is positive and negative. And I know that because of the temperatures. Okay. And so if I think about my graph here, we have quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I do this all the time to help me remember which quadrant's which. And then I know that, let's see here, x being positive would be just going this way. So it would just be this way. And then positive or negative would be this one right here. So I believe it would be quadrants 1 and 4. And so I'm putting the Roman numerals in because that's usually how they do the quadrants, 1 and 4. I and IV. V is 5. 1 less than 5 is 4. John, label the axes for the graph. Then graph the data and connect consecutive points. That's on the next page. Okay. And so, oops, it's on the next page. And kind of looking at both. Hopefully yours lets you okay. All right. So if I'm thinking about this graph on this page, I want to do the following. Okay. I'm going to make it so my y-axis right here is going to be my temperatures. Okay. Then I'm going to make it so my x-axis right here is going to be my time. And then I'm going to label this as temperature, TEMPERATURE. Okay. This is going to be 0 degrees Celsius. And then we'll kind of go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Go up by the same amount each time. But if I'm thinking about this, it's going up like every 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm just putting the number on every other. Going down, -4, -8, -12, -16, -20. And that should be good for right now with the numbers, okay? Then I'm going to kind of have it so it's like 10, let's see here. So kind of 11 o'clock a.m., 15, 30, 45, 12 o'clock p.m., 15, 30, 45, 1 o'clock p.m., 30, 45, 2 o'clock p.m., 3 o'clock p.m. Okay. All right. Now I need to start looking at my numbers. And so at 10:30, it was -6.7. Okay. So the way I have this set up, so it was -6.7, -6.7 would be right there. Okay. At 10:35, it was 13.3. So basically within the same time, there's 13.3. So I go up to 12, 13.3. All right. Then at 12, it was 15.6. So I'll go to 12 and then go to 15.6. Then at 12:05, it was -10.6. Then at 12:35, it was -9.4. 12:35, it was -9.4. Then at 12:40, it jumps up to 10. Okay. Then at 2:20, it goes to 14.4. 14.4. Okay. And then at 2:25, it goes to -8.3. 8.3. Okay. And so if I was following the times during the day, it would look something like this. It started really low, and so it went from here all the way to here within like 5 minutes. Then it went all the way from there to there. Then it went straight down and totally dropped again. It stayed there for a little bit of time. Then it bumped up again. Then it stayed there for a little bit of time, got warmer, and then it dropped again. And so that's what the temperature looked like over the day. Okay. Between which two times was the temperature swing the greatest? Well, if I'm taking a look at this, this is when it swung from really cold to hot, from really hot to cold, from cold to hot, from hot to cold. If I look at these 3 lines, or 4 lines, sorry, cold to hot, but here it dropped, here it dropped, here it got warmer, here it dropped. Okay, the biggest line here was this one, and so from 12 to 12:05. And I know because it was the biggest vertical line. Oops, make sure we can see that there. Okay. Describe the pattern. Why is this called an interesting day? Okay. Because the huge changes in temperature, it was in the teens and then dropped to negative and stayed for a short amount of time. Often when we have a huge temperature change, like we did kind of yesterday, where it got nice and warm all of a sudden, it usually just changes once and it stays at that one. This is interesting because it would drop and then go back up, and then it would drop and then go back up. And so because it kept on yo-yoing and going back and forth, that's what made it an interesting weather day. We're using graphs in the 4 quadrants. This time it was quadrant 1 and 4 in real life problem situations. And we're working on creating those graphs and answering some questions about them. So that was lesson 3.2. Cool beans.